So we've set up the board game. We're talking about Zombicide Invader, but not really talking about Invader. I just completed painting Invader. And I'm pumped because I love the game as it is. As soon as you just do a tabletop paint on it, it looks fantastic. But those were a lot of Xenos to kind of chew through. So it's all set up, ready to go. We're stocking the table with players. That's the plan at the next club meeting. What about the social contract? What about this idea, board gaming being a social interaction between you and your friends, or you and strangers who can potentially be your friend? Board gaming, wargaming, role-playing gaming, on a side note, has opened up so many opportunities for me to meet people, network with people, and make friends that just in my day-to-day work life would never happen. So I'm a firm believer in the social aspect of the game, everyone having a fun time. That said, and this is kind of the checklist we're building for this podcast, for this vlog, the checklist of social responsibility, social gaming. I was going to say just be a human being, but a couple of things to keep in mind. So we're taking time. Might only be an hour, might be 2 hours, might be 3. Board game play is pretty fast. We're taking time out of the day-to-day of school, work, responsibilities. Some of us travel to play pretty far. I want that experience to be the best that it possibly can. I want to respect the time. I want to respect your time. I want to have the narrative come together, the game, the music, the snacks, the players, everything. So you can literally look back at that game and be like, that was an awesome gaming experience. I mean, we are trading, and I think it's a good trade. We're trading real life units to sit down and play. I don't have time to waste with a subpar experience. That's not to say every experience is great, but I want to try and manage that up ahead of time. So I can't control the other players. I can control my actions and kind of set some guidelines for the other players. The first is to try and have an understanding of the rules. And this is going to be a little bit flexible. It could be just reviewing the rules really fast. It could be giving new players or all players a little rule summary. It could be like, let's just set up and do a really quick one turn and not have it count towards the game. In co-op games, this isn't that. It is not as important because while you may lose the game, if you get some rules wrong or backtrack, it's a little bit more forgiving because you're all on the same team. But as soon as you go over to a board game where there's competition, one versus many, if it's an overlord versus other players system, or resource management, counting sheep and wool and wood and ore and all this stuff, the player that has the most toys wins. Getting a rule wrong can now turn the game where some players will feel, or they might rightly be correct, you got that rule wrong. And I was trading 2-1 when it should have been 3-1, and I would have cornered the market on it, and I would have won the game. So I think just having an understanding of the rules and the expectations, managing it as best you can. I mean, certainly there's going to be rules questions that come up from time to time. So pushing that out there so everyone at least starts the game feeling like, hey, I can understand my base strategies. I can understand my tactics, what I'm going to do. So if I make mistakes and I lose, or I put the group in trouble, or it doesn't quite work out, that happened because of my own choices, good or bad, as opposed to, I didn't know the rules. Second, this is very, very important for board gaming. Everyone makes their own decisions. If we're sitting down to play Zombicide Invader, we're talking as a group, right? So we've done the spawns, stuff has moved, we passed the first player token, and you're up. You're up. What are you going to do? We can talk about it as a team. We should absolutely strategize because it's survival horror, co-op survival. But I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to take your turn. I'm not going to play your turn. You don't want to work as a team and you want to run off and loot everything. I necessarily can't stop that. But I think it's important for your avatar on the table, whatever that is, to make sure you have full control of that. Whether we want to call that a kingmaker, railroading, just someone saying, okay, it's your turn. This is what you're going to do. You're going to go here. You're going to do that. You're going to open this door. You're going to search. You're going to attack this. Like, no, you manage your own stuff. I think that's important. And one of the ways to do this, because people have different perceptions, that's the real key. Someone might be trying to railroad your turn because genuinely they're excited and they're trying to help and they want to win. And their perception is, hey, I'm helping. I'm doing a good thing. How can this player not see it? But on the opposite side, there's those people that are like, you know what? I don't care there's 5 other people playing here. This game is about me. I do what I want. I've got my own agenda and I've got my own issues that I'm resolving on the table, and I don't care about anybody else's experience. I just care about myself. Those players are out there, and sometimes they can be hard to spot. Sometimes you might be a little far in before you realize it. So I find managing up front, especially if it's my game that I'm helping to run, hey, let's review the rules. We're going to pick characters, and just up front, it's a co-op game. We're working together, or it's a strategy game, but everyone is responsible for their own turns. We can suggest actions to take as a group, but ultimately each player does what they want, making sure that's up front. So this way, that person who might be playing the game to resolve their own stuff and not caring about the rest of the players, the overall user experience, you've been put on notice, bro. You know. So if you want to continue to play, we need to have that up front because no one wants to not have their turn taken. I can't control. Now, sometimes you have to leave early for a board game. Stuff comes up, you get a sudden text, things went later, your ride is here, and look, you can't be stranded. I get it. I mean, I don't hold that against players if you genuinely have to leave the table. At that point, though, ahead of time, I try to make sure, again, I can only control myself. If I'm bringing the game or I'm sitting down at your table to play your game, I'm good to a certain time. I'm going to not sit down if I have to leave early. I want to commit to that. I make that up front the best I can when demoing a game or playing a game. So, hey, we're sitting down for Zombicide Invader. We're doing mission number 4 with 6 or 7 or 8 players because we do tend to play a little bit higher. This game is going to take probably about 2 hours, and that's allowing for a friendly pace because realistically I played it and it takes about 2 hours. Is that okay? Everyone's like, yes, yes, yes. If something comes up, you leave, then that now shifts the game. It happens. At that point, if it's a one versus many game, or if it's a game that's a competition, we take that player out. We don't divvy up the resources. It's as if now the player is just gone and anything they have is up for grabs. If it's a co-op type game, then I will ask that one of the more senior players or someone that has played the game before, so it's a little bit easier for them to manage multiples, take over the survivor. So if we're playing Invader and someone has to leave, well, if we take their character out of the game, then we're at a huge disadvantage. At the same time, we can't just leave their character there because if the character gets killed, everybody loses the game based on the rules. That's the internal balance. So someone needs to take over that character. So we take it over. Someone takes it over. Having a plan ahead of time to know if someone leaves, that's going to help manage those expectations. That's what I go into with board gaming. And I find by doing that, again, we're trying to elevate and create the best, the greatest experience that we can for those 2, 3, 4, I guess we're playing TI, 6 or 7 hours of gaming to make it worth trading those real life units to play a board game.